All right. Well, good afternoon, good evening to the MSK Innovations presenters and also to our panelists. We appreciate very much your joining us today and just for the opportunity to put out your messages to the broader market in the MSK space. Some general things that we want to talk about today. Obviously, we have 3 companies presenting and from 3 different countries, which is kind of exciting for us. And we also have 3 different panelists that we'll introduce momentarily. But it's important that we just recognize that MSK Innovations is here for founders, innovators, to help them get some exposure to investors. We've got accredited investors, institutional investors, and then just some high net worth people who are in the industry. We call them smart money. They know our space. They know what products are a good market product fit and believe in their ability to help sort of drive product adoption. So we're excited to have everybody on the call today. It's important also that I just recognize the fact that we are not a broker dealer. We're not investment advisors, and we're not making any recommendations as to what kind of company you should invest in. This is just purely for information, and hopefully it's something that everybody enjoys doing. So I will go ahead and introduce our panelists to begin with. First of all, we've got Kevin Rocco, who is the founder and CEO of a company called BioRez. And many of you know he is the guy that took that company to a really impressive exit to ConMed on a deal that was valued at about $250 million. Kevin is a tremendous entrepreneur, an investor, and in his own right. So we're pleased to have him here today. Also, we have David Springer, who's currently the president and chief executive officer of Verve Medical, an early stage company that treats hypertension. And David was also previously the president and CEO of a company called Cayenne Medical, which he exited to one of our other panelists, who I'll introduce here momentarily, who is our third panelist, and his name is David Dvorak. And many of you know him as the successful CEO from Zimmer Biomet, where he most recently was their president and CEO, and did multiple acquisitions, not the least of which was a little company called Biomet. And so we're just thankful to have all these gentlemen on the call today on this webinar. And the order of events is going to be simply this. We're going to have each company do an 8-minute pitch. And at that moment, we'll turn it over to the panelists, who will then ask questions of the CEOs and founders. And at that point, we'll take some back and forth from the panel and from the presenters. And then at 15 minutes, we'll move on to the next company. Our first presenter is Roey Shafrir from Israel, and representing a company called Spinol Medical, which is in the spine space. So I'll go ahead and have Roey, go ahead and share your screen, and you can be the first to kick us off.
Excellent. So first, allow me to say thank you about the opportunity, Drew and the team, and the opportunity to talk with all of this personnel. So my name is Roey. I'm from Israel. The basic of Spinol, a few years ago, my mother had a back pain, and the result of this, three different operations, and this is my fuel for Spinol. The name of Spinol is spine and nitinol. Nitinol is a well-known material for implant. Next slide. Basically, there is a procedure named discectomy. People come for discectomy with pain, numbness, sciatica. With my knowledge, this is the only procedure that people go home with some kind of rupture. The normal discectomy, people come and the doctor cut the bone and take out the material from the disc that irritate the nerve, and you live with some kind of rupture. Basically, discectomy fails, and most of the people doesn't like the outcome. Some of them go for a revision, for a recurrent, or it's called a reherniation, and about 10% go for a fusion. And this is disaster procedure as well. The market is huge. Is a huge because of a lot of issue. People get older, obesity, and everything go for the spine. More than 3 million globally market, more than 2 million operation in US, and it's growing daily, every day. Next slide. Our device is simple. OctaSeal is simple. Is a plug, meaning is one material, one device that come in a small dimension as a micro-discectomy, put in any kind of rupture in the lumbar spine, of course, and that's it. In the same rupture, we changed nothing in the discectomy procedure, put it in and go home. We have one kit, sterility kit, single use. The device can address any kind of rupture. The majority of the problem is a rupture between 6, 7, and 8. Our device can address all of the range of the rupture side in the spine. How it works? We have 10 human cases that we made in Czech Republic, in Brno. It's very easy. You just plug it in. Position, release it, deployment. What we say, the doctor that deal with discectomy is a two different doctor, orthopedics and neuro. Everybody have the same toolbox. We change nothing in the toolbox. We just say one thing. Second, before you go home, just plug it. The better news that we have one competitor is a different in too many layers, as a mechanical and as a clinical. It's assembly, titanium, you mess, you suture. As a mechanical, as the clinical, you need to drill it in the bone. It's like some kind of soft fusion. However, the good news that they have a code, they have a reimbursement, and they put this problem on the table. People know what is the problem of discectomy. Last year, we've been in the FDA, in the pre-submission, and basically the FDA get any kind of our thought. And when we get, of course, it's a PMA, because nothing like. We present all the data, all the clinical, mechanical, humans, animals, cadavers, and they accept our PMA for 24 months and even more. I've been in some meeting with the FDA, 510K, de novo PMA, but this is the first time that I saw that in the middle of the meeting, the FDA asked me that I have an option to reduce it for 12 months. Today we have 24 months, but the follow-up will be reduced for 12 months by FDA recommendation. The market opportunity is huge, because last year we get a reimbursement code for more than 12K. The distributor can sell it more than 250. It's 94 margin. Our device costs, it's only one material, one assembly, and the margin is beautiful. It's one device for any kind of rupture. Because I believe that we have lack of competitor, we are safety, efficiency, the device is simple, a small learning curve. And this is the reason that we think it will be a beautiful revenue opportunity. This one go for $5 million only to start the PMA. Naturally, for the whole PMA, it's much more, but we think that it will be wise to do it with two round to manufacture some, start the PMA, and then in the beginning to do as additional one with a better company share value. As you know better than I, that companies, IP and clinical, but the basic of the company is a team. My luck that I have very smart friends in any kind of aspect, as a doctor, as a strategy, as a business. All of them have a lot of history with specific this field. Even our partner, that the core medical, is in California, Patton in Boston, and I have something even more important. In any kind of medical company, we do have a board member. In Spinol, 75% of them put their own money, and even more. Some of them work with our competitor, implant and do clinical for our competitor, but they invest their own money in Spinol. And something above this, Professor Baydun from Mayo, sent by Mayo, that they want to be one of the site, our PI in our site in the PMA, also Cornell, and other of this team. So it's not only a key opinion leader, and they put their own pocket, and they want to be part of the PMA. That's it. This is my presentation.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So to the panel, what kind of questions do you have for Roey? Roey, you can stop sharing your screen.
I will try to delete it in a second.
Hey,
that's great.
Roey, this is Dave Springer. Congratulations, really impressive. It looks like a real patient benefit. Do you have ID approval to do your PMA, the 304 patients?
Yes, we after the pre-sub and the protocol is sealed. Yes, sir.
So in the investment, you're investing. You're looking for $5 million to treat the first 20 patients, and then you'll look to tranche with another $15 million to complete the trial. Is that
correct?
Correct.
Yes, we want to do the investment in 2 rounds because we want to save the percentage of the older investor, and I don't want to raise like now like a 20 million because it's reduced everyone in 2 phases. In the first round, allow me to start and to do the preparation and everything, and by this time I will have another one.
Yeah, I'll let the other panelists ask some questions. I have more, but go ahead.
I guess I'll hop in. I was going to ask a similar question about the strategy you had done at clinical, and then you're doing another safety study ahead of the PMA, but I'll defer to that. Let me ask a technology question. It looked like there was a predicate technology valued between 500 million and $1 billion, but it had a mechanical action, but also a mesh. And you're going with a purely metal. So is your solution purely mechanical, or is there some healing component that has to happen here? And then around that, so just describe a little bit more how it actually works. And then if you could share a little bit about intellectual property in the event I missed that.
Sure. Maybe it will, Drew, allow me to present another slide, because I think it will help me to answer this beautiful question. Is it okay?
Yeah, fine.
I will try, but Okay, it's over here. Sorry, I will upload another screen. One second, please. It's amazing. So this is the device over here. Our device, OctaSeal. It means that we seal the rupture. We have 8 different wings in a different angle, because it comes small, and we put it in the rupture in the same line, in the same position. We change nothing. So when we in deployment, it's step by step, and it's fully capsulated. Basically, this implant is like 3-layer. It means it's a plug to prevent the material to go out. This is one. It's a spring because we want to save the natural movement of the spine. And number 3, because it's a spring and you have wings, it's like shield for a tissue. So it seals everything. Now, the reason that the FDA allow us to do another 10 human cases out of US is because of this. Our device, the first device was a small one for a different rupture. And the dimension is 7 on 13. But we have majority and we have different rupture. Most of the problem for reherniation and for a fusion is between 6, 7, and 8. So we do an upscale. It's the same
2
device.
minutes. Excuse me, 2 minutes.
Sorry. Yes, it's the same design, the same material, but upscale. This is the reason that he asked us to do a 3 months follow-up and to go for the 300 for 1 year.
Thank you.
Maybe I'll jump in with a question around the economics of this. Is it the case that the $12,000 reimbursement level is what it is for the practicing surgeons, particularly in the ASC setting, and that this is going to be a $2,500 tax on that procedure that they previously weren't incurring?
It's a code by FDA for the old procedure. It's for the doctor, hospital, whatever. Our competitors sell the device in between $5,000 to $6,000 each.
Okay.
So even if I take half, I'm in a good position.
And I guess what that all led me to is a desire for a deeper understanding as to the particular characteristics of the patients that are more prone to have a reherniation, whether that is tear size or other characteristics that would allow you to very specifically target this big market in a way where you're going to have the most compelling story to avoid that reherniation, as opposed to sort of an all-comers approach to describing the market opportunity.
Correct. Most there are some problem in discectomy. Our goal is to implant after the first procedure, in the first procedure, to prevent the second one, and maybe to delay the fusion.
Can I ask a quick follow-up?
Device and approach.
Sorry, again?
I was just saying, I think it's a neat innovation, and no doubt positioned the right way with the right clinical evidence could address an unmet need and make a difference for patients. So appreciate your presentation.
Thank you, sir.
And Roy, I just want to add, are you looking for institutional investors, since you're going to take the risk of tranching this? Are you going to try to find an institutional investor to then step up based on certain milestones for the second part?
Basically, I look now for a fund, for a fuel. Every hospital, Mayo Clinic, Cornell, John Hopkins, and other, I have like a list of 8 or 10 different hospitals, New York, in California, whatever, that asked me to be part. I'm now juggling between different hospitals.
Is that's for the clinical trial to participate? I'm talking about for the investment. Are you looking for institutional money or high net worth kind of money based on the strategy of two-stepping the investment?
I look for smart money, people that know the next generation, because I'm only mechanical engineer. I know to take nothing and to do something, but once it will be in the PMA, and this is my personal limitation. And yes, I look for smart partner, smart investment.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Roy. We're going to conclude that segment, and any questions that anybody has, please send it through the chat. We'll forward it on to Roy, or they can also reach you at, what is your email address, Roy?
It's Roey, R-O-E-Y, at Spinol Medical in one name. Again, R-O-E-Y at Spinol Medical in one name.com.
Great. Thank you, Roy. We know it's very late. It's 1:30 in the morning in Israel. Thanks for carving out time for us this morning for you.
Thank you for the question, for your time, guys.
Thank you.
Great. So now we turn our attention to John Rizzo, the Executive Vice President for ABANZA Medical from Spain. ABANZA has created a really novel soft tissue attachment device. And so, John, we invite you to go ahead and share your deck.
Okay. I was just about to ask you if you can see it, but that answers the question.
You're not graded on your technical capabilities, just so you know.
Good thing. Good thing. We had this before, and let's try this one more time. Share screen.
John, if you want to send me that deck, I can. And actually, is it the same deck already?
No, it's not. But what I'll do is I'll try to share the PDF version. We'll lose we'll lose a little bit of the animation, but I'll get that to you.
Okay.
Should get that.
Are you going to send that to me on email?
No, it should be sharing right now.
Should be. Don't see it yet. If for whatever reason yours isn't working, you can send it to me, and I'll share it.
All right.
Unless Jason wants to jump in while you figure that out.
Yeah, no, happy to, assuming I can figure out how to share my screen too.
It worked in pregame, right?
Yeah, it did.
Okay. Going to
see which one you can do first, and we'll play an audible, call an audible here.
That's right, it's a foot race. I'm gonna grab a PDF and drop it in, and let's see how this works.
Nobody is envious of you guys right now. I'm trying to do that.
All right. It says it's processing the PDF, so don't know how long this generally takes, but
oh, there's ABANZA. I saw it.
You do? All right.
I saw it click up real quick, and then it disappeared.
This is entrepreneurship in a nutshell right here. Solve it live in front of a live audience.
Yeah.
And keep your calm and make it look cool.
How's he doing so far, Kevin?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah?
Pretty good.
Hasn't slammed anything down on the desk yet.
Easier than live surgery.
There's Sonogen. So Sonogen wins the foot race. Oh, and now, okay.
All right.
There we go. So we'll switch over. John, you can do what you're doing to figure out that. And we're going to transfer the process here to Jason Winder of Sonogen Medical. Take
All
it away.
right, thank you very much, Drew, and I appreciate you putting this this whole thing together. Technical difficulties aside, it's a really fantastic group, and I'm pleased to pitch to you today. So we're going to talk a little bit about ultrasonic bone fracture healing. Now, there are, as it happens, about 7 million people a year who break a bone, and of them, about 40% of those patients end up really categorized as fresh fractures at risk. These are patients that usually have some kind of comorbidity, vascular problem like diabetes or osteoporosis. Even just smoking can affect your ability to heal. And of those 2.8 million patients, about a quarter of them, about 560,000, actually end up with fractures that haven't healed after 90 or 120 days of fixation. It's about 8 to 10% of that 7 million total patients. Now, these patients, they're in pain, they can't work, can't play with their kids or grandchildren. And many of them, about 90% of them, land in a secondary revision surgery. And really, everybody wants to avoid surgery. These revision surgeries are expensive, they're painful, they're not without risk. On the provider side, it's lower margin, there's a reputation hit. Certainly nobody wants to endanger patients. And on the payer side, we're looking at about $12 billion a year that's spent on these revision surgeries. Now, there are some products in the space that are designed to kickstart the healing process when it fails. However, these products are all lackluster in one way or another. Many of them use technology that was around when Abraham Lincoln was president. A lot of them are incredibly unreliable. They require 10 to 24 hours a day of usage, and not one product in the space gives any kind of feedback on usage or the healing process. In summary, this is old tech that doesn't work very well, that patients don't like, that providers and payers don't like, and nobody can tell if any of it's working. We can do better. So Sonogen is working to commercialize a device based on a patent-pending ultrasonic shear wave signal that we've already shown in preclinical testing heals 30% faster than anything on the market today. This device also is capable of gathering usage data and fracture healing data. We can tell if it's working. And because we gather this data and ultimately make it available to orthopedists and patients, we end up with a telehealth-enabled platform that's also currently reimbursed with active codes in the US, EU, and Japan. Now, ultimately, the value to patients, providers, and payers is clear. We're going to dramatically reduce the need for these revision surgeries and improve outcomes. On the patient side, they're going to get back on their feet faster with a device that's hands-free and easy to use. Providers are going to be able to focus on helping their new patients protect their reputation and earn up to $50 million a year in telehealth revenue. And on the payer side, because we can actually track usage as we go, we can actually implement a subscription pricing model that could dramatically reduce cost and risk for the payer, and ultimately, most importantly, avoid that $12 billion a year in unnecessary surgeries. Here's how it works. When the orthopedist realizes the patient isn't healing, she prescribes the device. The device is shipped to the patient's home. The patient uses that device for 20 minutes per day. When they're done using it, we gather the usage and treatment data. We send it up to our HIPAA-protected cloud, where we analyze the data and make it available to mobile and web apps. This allows us to gamify the healing process and also really integrate the provider and the patient into the healing process. Now, I mentioned there are a few products in the space. In fact, there are 4 companies with a total of 6 products in this space. 2 of those products are built around ultrasound, but really no product in this space has advanced in almost 30 years. Together, these companies are doing about $260 million in revenue, but we are coming to market with a much, much, much better mousetrap. We expect to rapidly take market share from these stale competitors, initially targeting the primary indication of delayed and non-union fractures, a $1.7 billion opportunity, with also a little bit of opportunity in the fresh fracture at risk space as well. Now, in addition to those primary indications, I also want to mention there are some adjacent markets we're keen to explore after launch. We know this technology works for spinal fusion healing. We suspect it works for wound healing. And it could be that the data ends up being the most important part of this thing. we're envisioning that our fracture healing assessment algorithm could eventually be expanded to be more of a general bone quality assessment capability. We could actually develop acoustic signatures, if you like, of all kinds of metabolic bone disease, like osteoporosis, osteopenia, or bone cancer. Now, we've got a really great team we've put together to put this all in play. I myself am a serial entrepreneur and a risk management specialist with decades of experience. Robert Murator is just a powerhouse biophysicist, multiple patents to his name and 20 years of experience in ultrasonics product development. And Alan Winder, who developed this technology, is a world-renowned expert in the area of acoustics. He's got 11, soon to be 15 patents to his name, and importantly was actually one of the team leads that brought the Exogen device to market, the world's first ultrasound-based bone growth stimulator back in the mid-1990s. And we're bolstering that team with just a world-class set of advisory boards. On the business side, we're getting help in strategy, marketing and sales, reimbursement, regulatory. And on the medical advisory board side, we've assembled a team of key opinion leaders representing some of the most storied hospitals and medical institutions in the world. Now, our intellectual property, we have 4 worldwide PCT patents filed at this point, with national filings completed in 5 key regions for the first 3 of those. The fracture healing assessment algorithm we intend to keep proprietary as a trade secret. But we've also already made fantastic progress on our engineering prototype and our ultimately the transducer, which is the part that converts the electrical energy to acoustic energy. That work has largely been done. We expect to be into FDA by the end of this calendar year with a completed device finished and tested. Now, our go-to-market strategy is, first of all, a predicate strategy against the Bioventus Exogen device. We're going to inherit the entire label of that device, it's a fantastic label. It's all delayed non-union fractures as well as certain fresh fractures at risk. We're not going to need to do clinical trials until after launch, although that will be our priority immediately after launch. From there, we'll be using a proven sales strategy in this space. It's a pharmaceutical model that will also bolster with push and pull marketing through medical education and social media. Again, all with established billing codes for both therapeutics, diagnostics, and the telehealth piece. This is durable medical equipment, so we intend to recap these devices, ultimately drive down our cost of goods sold. And as I mentioned, we can track the usage process, right? So we're going to be experimenting with what we're calling bone healing as a service. It's a value-based subscription pricing approach that we really think will, first of all, dramatically reduce risk and resistance for both payers and patients, and really should open up the marketing funnel in some fantastic ways. More on the financials, we're going to have a steadily decreasing cost of goods sold as we scale. Our revenue and gross margin steadily growing to a peak of about 76% by our 5th year of actual marketing. Our break-even year is year 4. And from there, our net income scales quite dramatically as we scale. Really some fast traction so far. After we finished our proof of concept in 2019, validated our technology, we raised some friends and family money, we filed our patents, we formed our advisory boards, and with our strategy finalized in 2022, we really, things started coming together for us in 2023. We won 3 regional pitch contests of some prestige. We won a small grant from the U.S. military, and most importantly, we secured a lead investor. Which brings me to the ask. We are currently raising $1.2 million, which is enough money to get us to FDA approval. We are, in fact, a Maryland biotechnology company, which means investors at this stage get back 33 to 50% of their investment from the state of Maryland. So far, we have closed or committed half of the monies that we're looking to raise. We're still looking to circle another 600K. After our FDA approval middle of next year, we intend to start our market beta test. We'll be raising a $5 million Series A, targeting $1.2 million in revenue on the first 500 units sold. We'll create our first exit opportunity, but if we choose to hang on and scale, there's a next exit opportunity maybe 3 or 4 years later as we work to grow to about $60 million in revenue on 20,000 units sold. And that, everybody, is about that. Oh, here's a nice little screen cap of our 3D printed models of our device. Here you see the device, the charging cradle, and the cast insert. I should put a little quarter or something next to the device. It's about 2.5 inches tall by about 1.5 inches in diameter. So a tiny little thing that just snaps into that collar that gets embedded in a cast. And from there, I'll stand by for questions.
Great, thank you, Jason. Panelists?
I'm happy to hop in here. Jason, nice job. You went about 2.5 minutes long by my count. Just a little long on the pitch itself, but it was, I think, thorough. So appreciate that. Question: You flashed up about 30% faster or better healing than anything else on the market. Can you describe that study a little bit? Where does that data come from?
Sure. We did an animal trial using a rabbit fibular model, which is the same model that Bioventus, Exogen used back in the day. It's really the established animal model in the long bone healing space. From there, we effectively did a bake-off against the Exogen device, which has the best healing results on the market. They heal, 88 to 92% of the time, and we effectively induced bilateral fibular osteotomies in New Zealand white rabbits, and then treated one paw with the Exogen device and one paw with the Sonogen device with the early engineering prototype. And ultimately showed that our bones were 30% faster, farther along the healing process than the bones treated with the Exogen device. That final testing, the actual study work was done at Thomas Jefferson Hospital in Philadelphia, and the destructive testing was done at the Mayo Clinic's biotechnology lab.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe just consider adding a slide on that specifically, because that sounds like very powerful data.
Then it would be like 3 minutes over. But yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Fair enough. Thank you.
You bet.
And Jason, maybe just to follow on, because I think that if capable of claiming that improvement, obviously that would be powerful and fuel the commercial adoption that you have projected out. Is that part of the game plan? At what point in time would you see yourselves being able to establish human clinical data with that same 30% or better, faster healing claim?
So our intent is to do human clinical testing the moment we get our FDA approval. And there, we figure that our number one priority at this point is to gather that data really on the first 50 or so patients. So I expect to have that data in hand by the end of next calendar year, certainly.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. And then we'll continue to gather that real world data as we go. Sir.
Yeah, Jason, this is Dave. Great job. Really nice presentation. Well done. Like the innovation. Since I'm a CEO out raising money in this brutal market, do you have you said you have a lead. Is it a price round? And is that price round, can you give the terms? And is do you have to price it to get the Maryland credit? I know in Minnesota, to get the tax credit refund, the 25%, you have to have a price round. You can't have a note. So what's the structure of raising?
Yeah, same deal here in Maryland. It has to be a priced round. So it's a $5 million pre. That the way we structured it, we actually started with a convertible note on a $5 million cap and an 8% interest rate with a 20% discount. And then when we qualified as a Maryland biotechnology company, which you have to do within a year of executing a note or a safe, then we converted to equity at the cap. So I would certainly consider unpriced money at this time. In fact, I took a convertible note from the state of Maryland just earlier this year. But effectively, if you want to get the Maryland tax credit, it does have to be priced.
No, a smart strategy and excellent. That's really compelling. So, and you're raising a small amount right now. So that's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Emphasis on brutal market right now too.
Yes.
If I could ask a follow on to Dave Springer's question, you've got $1.2 million seed going, and it looked like you were targeting maybe a $5 million round or $6 million round thereafter to get you to single-digit millions in revenue. So for $6 million and change of investment, what do you think this company could be worth and why?
So, ultimately, my goal is to get this as a first cut to a $2 to $3 million revenue target. I think that if I get to a $2 to $3 million revenue target, I have a 9-figure asset on my hands here. And then really, I expect to exit to a strategic at that point. But depending on, things, there are scenarios where I could imagine hanging on or doing some kind of a hybrid strategy where we sell the long bone healing and then pivot to the spinal fusion healing or the bone quality assessment piece. But really, my laser goal at this point is to get to the $2 to $3 million value, revenue rather.
Thank you.
Smart.
Great. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate it very much. Let's go ahead and invite John to share his screen from ABANZA.
You have it, right?
Yep, I do. I will share it for you.
Nice job, Jason. That was great.
Thank you, sir.
See, it's not so easy, Drew.
Well, I'm trying to pick it. I hope I'm picking the right one. There were two
got
that
it.
popped up.
All right. Thank you. Can you just advance the next slide? All right. Thank you very much. So I just wanted to talk to you about ABANZA and the WasherCap portfolio. I say portfolio because it's not a single device, and we do have our first 510K clearance, so we are de-risked to some degree. There are 2.8 million total soft tissue procedures each year in the U.S., and there are some problems in the market, including high surgical failure rate, a lack of specific solutions for poor bone quality, and inability to adjust and retension repairs once fixed. Next slide. So our solutions include the unique biplanar soft tissue fixation device that is the original WasherCap. It's independent of bone quality, and I'll expand on that. And we do have the ability to adjust and retension whether it's a suture or graft, tissue graft. So we're able to make those adjustments in situ. Next slide. So another problem is inherently weaker tibial bone for fixation. And we're talking about ACL fixation. A number of surgeons are so concerned with the quality of this fixation that they're backing it up. They're using a supplementary device or a second device. And so that additional anchor or device adds cost as well as OR time. So our solution to this is the WasherCap, and that eliminates the concern. Next slide. So how do I explain biplanar fixation? Actually, go to the next slide, and I'll show you the... So what this does is it adds these red dotted lines. It shows you that biplanar fixation simply means in two planes. So we are not only fixing at the cortical bone in this ACL tunnel, but also across that plane into the cancellous bone. So what that does is allows us to fix the device to the bone and fix the graft or the suture to the device. Now that gives us higher mechanical pull-out strength and significantly reduced residual displacement. And it's not dependent on the quality of the bone. Next slide.
Oops. There we go.
Yeah, so this is a busy slide, but if you look in the upper right-hand corner, you'll see the blue ABANZA WasherCap at 860 newtons of pull-out. It's significant, but after about 500 newtons, it's kind of irrelevant. What's most important is the lower right-hand corner, where you see the 0.6 millimeter residual displacement, and we're the only device that is below that 2.5 millimeter threshold. And that's a threshold that is associated with surgical failure and osteoarthritis development. So that's a tremendous advantage, and that, for me, is the money slide for many of our surgeons. Next slide. So we have an unprecedented, strong, and rigid fixation portfolio, not just a single product, to address all anatomies, and then with the addition of WasherCap Mini and LoopCap later this year. Right now, what we have FDA cleared is the original WasherCap, and that market is actually relatively small. We're only working in ACL repair, tibial fixation only, and only in soft tissue repair. So the market gets exponentially larger when we add these other products later this year. Next slide. So just as an example, there are about 300,000 ACLs and meniscal root repair cases done in the U.S. each year, and 250,000 ACLs. And that figure actually excludes bone tendon bone procedures. So it's a tremendous opportunity for us, and about 50,000 meniscal root repairs, and that's one of the fastest growing surgeries in sports medicine. And we really think we can be a niche player in this market. Now, a number of surgeons have told us that they are anxious to try WasherCap Mini with the bare implant from MEOC. So that's something that we're going to play on. Our booth at ANA here this week is right next to MEOC, so we're excited to extend conversations with them. Next slide. So soft tissue lower extremity market, another 500,000 cases per year. If you add in hand, wrist, and elbow procedures, there's another additional 180,000 cases per year. So you can see the market potential continues to grow with the addition of our WasherCap Mini and LoopCap. Next slide. So we'll be launching a single-use instrument set, which will reduce capital expenditure and improve efficiencies, and that'll be available late Q3, early Q4. And that actually includes the implant as well. The implant is in that set. Next slide. All right, so this is me. I've been doing this for over 3 decades, which means I can't work computers very well. I should have hired a 9-year-old, but I have been involved in a couple of successful exits in the sports medicine orthopedic market. Recently, last year, I was Senior VP of Sales at Embody. We took that business from pre-revenue to acquisition by Zimmer Biomet just last year. And as David Dvorak knows very well, I was part of the team that brought Knee Creations to Zimmer Biomet, and we had a successful acquisition in 2013. We took that portfolio from $500,000 in sales our first year to $50 million in annual sales within 6 years. So there's a track record here. Next slide. So what are the sales tactics? They're simple, proven, and reproducible. I say simple, but they're not easy. But what we will do is build a focused, independent distribution channel. We'll incentivize our distributors with higher commissions and equity opportunities. We'll utilize KOLs for medical education, podium presentations, and eventually build a hybrid sales team of direct reps along with independent distributors for key markets where we simply can't find a good distributor. This is our revenue build. You can see 2024 out through 28. That 24 number is really the second half, as we just did our first cases about 45 days ago. Next slide. This is a development plan. You can see that Q1 2024, we're on track. We plan to submit the 510K for the Mini this quarter and launch late in Q3, and then the LoopCap in Q4. Next slide. This is our team. Juan is our founder and CEO, and Hugo, a partner and chief commercial officer. They're both on the line listening in and judging me on my my computer skills. That's me in the lower left-hand corner. And Kevin Barbario is my first hire in the U.S., which is a regional sales director. He runs the Southeast for me, and we'll be adding additional regional sales directors to the team very shortly. Next slide. So the investment opportunity, we're raising up to about $10 million with about 30% committed. We're going to use that for commercial expansion and regulatory registrations, clinical evidence, et cetera. Next slide. So comparative exits recently. I mentioned Embody. That was a Zimmer Biomet acquisition up to $275 million. Kevin's very aware of the $250 million BioRes sale that he led. CardiHeal is another into bones, and it just demonstrates that there's a solid $200 to $300+ million exit opportunity for a number of companies in this realm. Next slide. And so what our total addressable market, about 2.1 billion, growth rates of over 7%. We've de-risked to some degree with a 510K and cases already completed. We have disruptive technology and a growing pipeline. We have a managed experience management team, and we have an opportunity to become a niche leader in certain markets like meniscal root and meniscal transplant. Next slide.
Oops.
Yeah, so we have intellectual property in 15 countries, 29 issued patents, and I'm mindful of the time. So if you just go to the last slide here, that's the summary: biplanar soft tissue fixation, ability to adjust and retention, lowest displacement, and a portfolio of products to address all anatomies. Kevin, I'm only a minute over.
Very nice, John. Thank you. Panelists?
Hey, John, good presentation. Good to see you again. Can you describe a little bit more specifically what, if any, challenges you see to the adoption of the technology from a surgeon workflow? How would you approach the medical training education? And do you see that as being a challenge because of the differentiated product and technique? And then follow-on question, talk to us a little bit about your price point and competitive position in that regard.
Yeah, the second question kind of answers the first. The biggest challenge is price, especially in the ASC market. I've got actually, I think he's on the call. I've got a full-time guy that does nothing but work on IDNs, national accounts, and getting us approvals. So that's the challenge to get up and running. We're targeting a $600 ASP. Our ASP, very early days, is $743 right now, but that's a little too soon to count our chickens. But our cost of this product is about $100 right now, and that's a machined product. So once we go to injection molding, we'll be able to reduce that cost to $25. Now that disposable instrument set is going to add some cost to that, but the bottom line is we can be in the $400 to $500 range and still have solid margins. But we're going to try to avoid that and stick to a target of $600. And one of the things I'm doing is incentivizing our distributors to sell at a higher price. So over a certain price point, they get additional commissions, and then over the next level, they get even more commissions. So it gives them skin in the game and helps us to maintain that ASP.
And how about surgeon training education on the technique and use of the differentiated solution itself, John?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for repeating that. It's really quite a simple procedure. Once we show the surgeon the instruments, it's very simple and easy. They get it. Once they put it together one time, we've had no issues. And as far as adoption goes, we've yet to run into a surgeon who said, "I would never use that." That's not what we're hearing. They're hearing that's great. Most of them say, "Let us know when the mini's out," because the vast majority of surgeons doing ACLs today are using all inside technique. So we're not addressing the full market yet, but it gives us an opportunity to start slow and get approvals. And we'll add hopefully the mini and the loop cap as line extensions to approved facilities. So it should be a lot easier.
Thank you.
Good to see you again.
Nice seeing you.
I'm happy to hop in. Nice presentation, John. I guess I know this space well, and obviously the anchor space is very competitive. In a sense, it's a race to the bottom on price if you can achieve equivalent or non-inferior fixation. So it feels to me like the challenge ahead for ABANZA is kind of convincing surgeons that there is a deficiency with normal, typical, commoditized fixation. So how are you approaching that, and kind of how is that medical education being received?
Yeah, so we're still in early days, but so far so good. The price is the challenge. There's no question. But the ASP, the average selling price for a simple button in the U.S. is $410. So we're not really looking to go that much over that. Arthrex sells a kit, and they're promoting backing up their intratunnel fixation with some, or even cortical fixation with an additional device, and that construct goes for anywhere from $800 to $1,300. So, really we're well in the ballpark with the $600 target, and we're getting approvals at $750 and more.
Could you, just a quick follow on, thank you. Could you envision a future of actually going after procedural solutions for some of these? So there's just one pack to do the procedure.
Yeah, absolutely. Not in the early days, only because that significantly adds to the instrumentation needs. But that if we take this beyond a couple of years, yeah, that's a place we're going to need to go to really grow the business. My goal is to bring us to that that sweet spot of $2 to $5 million annual sales, and do that within 3 years, and hopefully find that exit.
Yeah, John, real quick, I know we're running out of time. Nice job. Know the space really well. I just want to piggyback the competition. So, with Cayenne, we had a differentiated better ACL and rotator cuff, and it was really tough to beat Arthrex and others. So I think that's one question. And then the second thing is, when we went from being a knee-only company to shoulder, we end up having to switch 70% of our distribution. So how have you factored in your distribution strategy as you recruit for this first product, and then as you start to add other products that cross over into other modalities, foot, ankle, and other areas, meniscus?
Yeah, we certainly see foot and ankle as a differentiated market, and we're discussing options there. We're already looking at our distributors that we're talking to. Some of them are on the call right now, and they are in both the ACL and shoulder marketplace. So we're prepared for that. Less so in foot and ankle, and we may need to go a different direction with that. And we're talking to some strategic partners. So we're exploring a lot of options in that space. But you bring up a very good point, and our plan is to go with a hybrid sales force. What I did with Embody is we had, started with independent distributors, and then added, even 10 or 12 direct reps in key markets. That if all you have is a hammer, everything's a nail, and that's what they're going to do. Go out there and find a way to make it work.
Yeah, John, I would just add, I love your strategy not to have instrument set trays. That's such a burden on moving them around and cost. So congratulations. If you can go with a kit, you're just going to accelerate your adoption. So really, really nice strategy there.
Yeah, well, Anders on the call from our R&D director, and he'll be happy to hear that.
Great. Well, John, thank you. And again, thank you to all of our presenters and our panelists. We really appreciate all that you've done, and just the contribution and the help. Anyone that has further questions, please feel free to reach out to anyone on the panel or anybody, any of the presenters. You also can reach me at Drew, D-R-U-E, at Orthospine Search. And we will be doing this again next month. I think the plan is to go on the first Wednesday, same time of every month, as long as there's a demand for it. So if your company, if you'd like to have the opportunity to pitch, we're assembling a committee that will evaluate companies, make sure they're investable, and make sure that they meet certain criteria. But we'd love to see if we can help as many as possible. And so please, by all means, go to the website and send us some information, and we'll follow up with you directly.
Thanks, Drew.
All right, everyone. Thanks so much. Have a good night.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Drew. Great event. Appreciate it.
Take care, all.